Hi guys, AzureAce here and welcome back to another episode on the Dragon Ball Briefing, where today I have an interesting video discussing the nostalgic elements that have been present in Dragon Ball Super and if they are beneficial to Super or not. But today I am not alone, as I have two very special guests here on the very first collab on the channel. Today I have with me Kaioshin Curt. Would you like to say hello?
Hey there guys, it's Kaioshin Curt here, helping you to expand and enhance your knowledge of Dragon Ball. That's my classic phrase line. Thank you very much, AzureAce. It's a pleasure to be finally on your channel. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And also I have Dimzy's Domain. Would you like to also say hello?
Hey there guys, it's Dimzy's Domain, helping you to expand and enhance your knowledge on Dragon Ball. It's great to be here. No, it's nice, it's long overdue, and I am humbled to be here.
I think you did that pretty well.
I know, you'll admit it was a really good one.
So let's just get the base question out of the way. Do you guys think that the nostalgic elements in Super so far, such as bringing back Future Trunks, the abundance in tournament arcs, bringing back the Mafuba, do you think all of these nostalgic elements are good for Dragon Ball Super or not?
It's a bit of an iffy one because of the fact that if you look at it from a writing standpoint, you could be like, oh, this is absolute genius to weave in old school Dragon Ball or things that were introduced from Dragon Ball Z and then weaving it into Dragon Ball Super. But then at the same time, there are plot points and certain elements which are kind of you're thinking to yourself, why would they do that? Why on earth would they do that? For example, and this is a bit of an iffy one, we know that Dragon Ball Super was conjured up after the movies, and there was no reason for them to adapt the first two movies into a series format. Of course, they could have changed up things there and then, and that's not really nostalgia because it's too recent to be nostalgia. But we have to also think to ourselves, something such as the Frieza portion, the Frieza arc, which was relying on the whole nostalgia for the main villain, the most iconic villain to many from Dragon Ball Z, it just didn't hit. And of course, later on, as you spoke about, and I'm sure we're going to discuss this later on regarding Future Trunks, it was a bit of a hit and miss. So it's a bit of both, but I'm going to, we'll speak about it later, but I do think that it's not ruining Dragon Ball Super. If anything, it's going to give it a distinct flavor to it, which is dependent on how the person digests it. So it's a bit of both, in my opinion.
If you were to ask me, I'm probably a little bit biased here because I'm probably not very good at arguing against what I'm going to say, but I, in my opinion, think that the nostalgia isn't ruining Dragon Ball Super. I think that it was very important in the early stages of this new series, Dragon Ball Super, to make it relatable to old Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z fans, and also, when they were opening it up to the international audience, I think that they had to bring back lots of nice things for the fans to say, hey, they're actually remembering the old series, what we liked. Thank you that you're actually appreciating us. Thank you that you're actually remembering how we used to like these things. And one of the biggest examples was that, Toei, they know that we love all the muscles over here in the Western the Western audiences, so they're like, hey, let's bring back Vegito. Lots of Vegito fans here. So I think that brought a lot of joy to people, but it's very, very questionable. It's going to be very interesting whether we actually see Vegito in the actual manga, Toyotaro's manga. I don't think personally he will be in there. I think it's just a Toei edition. But I really enjoyed that one. I don't think it was too fan servicey. I don't go down that camp. But I know obviously there's lots of points that you can counter that with. It was just very makeshift to put him in there. It just didn't really make a lot of sense. And they had to obviously retcon a few things with the Potara fusion, which is a right pain for me to actually consider.
That annoyed you, didn't it? As a Kaioshin, it must have hurt your feeling quite a bit.
And I also think that when they brought back like little bits of character development for characters like Oolong, Yamcha, as we see in a baseball, with even in the recent episode with Bra, Bulla being born, and all this, it's just nice to see these characters not being forgotten, and obviously Yamcha's being portrayed in a very troll-like way, but it's just good. It's just magic, isn't it? So I really appreciate it. I think that it isn't ruining Dragon Ball Super, but I'll put it back to you once again, AzureAce. I've talked for too long.
It's okay. Well, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you're both saying that, it doesn't really affect Dragon Ball Super in a negative way. I'm honestly kind of on the fence. Like, I'm more so to the fact that yes, it does not ruin Dragon Ball Super at all. If anything, it makes it a whole lot better. But there have been a few times in the series so far, in the Dragon Ball Super series, that they have really, really dropped the ball with their nostalgic elements. One of which, and this is one that is pretty much kind of agreed upon by most of the fan base, I would say, and that is that the Mafuba was not handled well at all in the Future Trunks arc. Most people wonder, why the hell was it even there? It was basically useless in the anime. If everyone watching remembers, when Goku was, training with Master Roshi, he ended up forgetting the talisman to, lock away Zamasu in the jar, and in the manga, they changed it so that Goku brought, like, what was it, like a kind of slip for something? I can't remember what it was exactly. It was like a dirty magazine slip sort of thing that Roshi, left it there. Goku took that instead of the talisman. But yeah, either way, it's just, why would the Mafuba even be used if they would forget it like that?
I disagree with, because of the fact that I think that the use of the Mafuba, or the inclusion of the Mafuba, it was sat really well with me because of the fact that it was a bit of a nod to old school Dragon Ball, but at the same time, the Mafuba is a seeding technique. Yes, of course, it would have been better to seed away Zamasu so that he could maybe wreak havoc for another day. But if they are going to have a conclusion or a definitive end to the villain, the character that is Zamasu or Goku Black or Fusion Zamasu, the Mafuba really wouldn't work. But it acted as a decent way, a decent plot point to spend more time. And that's one of the things which have been the main problem with Dragon Ball Super, is the fact that they don't know how to end an arc properly. They can start an arc, they can actually do 80% of the arc, they can do it really, really well. It's the last quadrant, it's the last part of the arc, which is always where it flounders. Yeah, I'm hungry, I want fish. But the point is the fact that I think that it's not more so about nostalgia ruining Dragon Ball Super. It's just the fact that we have to agree on the fact, or just notice the fact that the writing for Dragon Ball Super is not good. I'm sorry, it's just not good. Now, if that highlights some bits of nostalgia which they can't execute properly, yeah, there are a few bits. Maybe the Mafuba does fall into that category somewhat. Maybe you could have something like Mai. They tried to get the adult Mai, but then it kind of didn't make as much sense. I still don't see how it makes sense, because I don't think they really care. They really don't care regarding about continuity. They try to make it look like they care with the few nods of nostalgia, but then you got Pilaf and his crew who are still kids, which doesn't make sense. There are far too many elements that just do not make sense for a story perspective to make Dragon Ball Super a tip-top A-grade show. It's a good show. I don't care what anyone says. It's a good show for what it's worth right now. But is it a great show? Is it an amazing show? No, it is not. And what people regard as nostalgia is always going to be different. Some people grew up with Dragon Ball. Some people grew up with Dragon Ball Z. Heck, some people are getting to Dragon Ball Super for the first time ever, and that is completely fine. So nostalgia is it's a broad stroke, and it's more so about a shit story writing on their part, a bit of confusion from Toei, a bit of confusion from maybe Toriyama, and how the others receive it. I think that's the thing, and that's, when you spoke about the Mafuba, that's just what you remind me of. I just think that it's the story itself, it's the way the characters are handled, it's the fact that why did Trunks go back to an alternate timeline? Why didn't he stay in the concurrent or the current present timeline? It just things that don't make sense, and some of it is responsible due to nostalgia. The other, and most of it, is responsible to them not knowing how to write a story. Rant over.
Yeah, that was a bizarre way
totally
at the
agree.
end for Trunks and Mai to just disappear like that. But I was going to say that actually, if you do think about this statistic, I believe that Dragon Ball Super was the most binged watched anime in 2016. Am I right there, guys? I think I read that
Yeah, on
somewhere.
Crunchyroll.
So I think that maybe has some bearing on what we're saying, that maybe the nostalgia is in general appreciated, or maybe it's just because it's Dragon Ball. It's like, oh, I've just got to watch this no matter how bad or good it is, you know.
We have to remember, as you said, especially from the from that statistic that you said is the fact that Dragon Ball is always going to be a juggernaut in anime, and that's one thing, that's an understatement, but it's going to be a mega juggernaut, especially in the West, due to the fact that that is, for most people, a gateway anime. It is promoted and is very, very prevalent in mainstream media. Look at WrestleMania. WrestleMania is the extravaganza for wrestling, and we had the New Day, which is one of the wrestling teams. They're coming out in Saiyan uniform. So what does that say? When Ronda Rousey was in the WWE as well, she was in the stands, I believe, for last year's WrestleMania. She was wearing a over 9,000 Vegeta shirt, even though that's incorrect. But the point is how it transcends, and its gravity is ever present, and because of that, they are allowed, and I agree with you, Kurt, they have to tap into the nostalgia because of the fact that there's such a big lore and reach of Dragon Ball to all scopes and ages for people, and that's the reason why they should capitalize on it. But I don't know, I am a little bit with you, AzureAce, regarding the fact that whether it ruins it or not. I'm going to say that it doesn't ruin it because of the fact that the nostalgia parts, they're not prevalent enough in terms of the main crux of the story. They don't have as much of an influence on the story. Maybe if there's something, someone can comment it down below, but regarding the main story chunk, it's not. And if anything, it's more fan service, if anything, and I guess that's a discussion for another day. It's more so, is there too much fan service, and what is good, what is bad, and is there such thing as good or bad fan service? We know there is bad fan service, but when you look at female Broly, or we don't know the name just yet, but it's essentially a female Broly. You see other things like that, and that's where you have to have the discussion of, is it nostalgia that's ruining it, or is it fan service that's ruining it, or is it just bad story writing? But I guess the main umbrella is story writing, because that's where nostalgia and fan service fall under.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And one big nostalgic piece that did come back that I'm sure we can all agree we loved when this was first brought back, we were all shocked when this was first brought back, is the Kaioken. When we all saw the Kaioken come back, my god. And it's funny because back in episode 40 or 39, I believe it was one of them two, when the Kaioken came back, we got spoilers for that episode that said, oh, Goku's bringing back an old technique. And everyone was wondering, like, oh, what it was. They never ever told us that it was the Kaioken. And I'm of personal belief that bringing back the Kaioken, and I'm not including Frieza, like, because, you know, there was Resurrection F before Dragon Ball Super. Bringing back the Kaioken is the first big, like, massive thing that they brought back in terms of nostalgia. Was one of the best things to happen to Super so far. Because for a long time, they never ever used it. They used it as if, you know, it was used normally in the series as this last ditch technique that should only really be used when you need it, because it does take such a toll on your body. But now it seems like Goku's mastered it, so it's given a whole new depth to this thing that we have known and loved for so long. So it just, I don't know, it makes it like it makes it a new thing almost,
but
like not the old Kaioken we know.
Yes, the Kaioken, everyone loves it. Is it good story writing? Because does the Kaioken really make sense regarding... I am no power scaler by any means, and I don't care for power scaling. You lot can speak about that in the comment section down below. I just do not care regarding power scaling, but does it make sense for him to go 10 times the strength and still be inferior to certain other characters which are prevalent on the roster or the cast list of Dragon Ball? That's the thing. You wonder, like, why didn't he use this before? Okay, I get it. Maybe he's always been training and he was that much more dangerous. And I'm not criticizing, because I was as much of a fan as you were regarding as how I was marking out when the Kaioken was reintroduced in Dragon Ball. But there are certain things where you think to yourself, does it really make sense? Does Trunks Super Saiyan Ikari, does that really make sense?
Not really.
And the thing is, that's where you blur the lines of, okay, you got the nostalgia side of Future Trunks, and then you got the fan service of giving him a massive little boost. And I guess you have the nostalgia side of getting the Kaioken, but then you got the fan service part of combining it with the Super Saiyan Blue. So it is very weird. If there is anything that is ruining Dragon Ball Super, is gonna be the fans, because a lot of the fans just have a incessant need and urge to argue over the most stupid things. And
yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So I don't know, and that's the thing. One of the reasons why they argue is because they all have different parts or different definitions for their nostalgia. They define nostalgia differently for each person. That's because of the reach of Dragon Ball throughout the ages and through the people. And I don't know, that's one of the vicious cycles that we are in, especially in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super at this time.
I was going to say as a final point, as we discussed all the show up till now, what do you guys think about how nostalgia can go on like for the rest of the show? Do you think because now we actually see that things that are established, we've got Hit as a character kind of being established, we don't know if he's going to really feature that much more, and other things, like the God's Hierarchy and this and that. Do you think that they'll keep playing on this nostalgia thing, or do you think it was just for this the series up till now, episode 84 tomorrow? Do you think it will continue on, or you just think it's going to maybe just diminish now because we're actually established and things can move forward?
Well, we are at the Universe Survival arc, and already they got hints of nostalgia right there regarding Master Roshi's inclusion, because of the fact that he's a wily old experienced fighter, especially in this department. So there will be flashes of nostalgia regarding maybe might get techniques, we might get the multiple arm techniques, we might get the giant technique for Piccolo. So we have Android 17, need I say more? So there's the nostalgia side of things there will continue definitely for this arc. But after that, I do think that they've kind of they've mainly been flushed out. They've used up all the tricks. The only thing that's left right now in terms of something really big is maybe having Gohan go onto a Super Saiyan 2 level rage mode, or a Ultimate Gohan-esque badass mode. So it's Gohan now. Regarding Goku, he's all nostalgia'd out. Vegeta, I don't know, what is there for... You know what, Vegeta has come so far. There's nothing more they can do with him in terms of bringing back old things from Dragon Ball Z. I can't think of anything else. I think they've done a lot of the things, and I agree with you, the fact that they've established themselves and they've kind of used most of the cards in their hand regarding nostalgia. It
is kind of funny you actually mentioned Vegeta, because I do remember they had a very, very similar looking scene in the Champa arc with him fighting Vegeta. The scene that looked so familiar to him using the Final Flash against Cell back in the day, there was that as well. I completely forgot about that until you mentioned Vegeta there.
And it's just the things with Vegeta as well, because they need to progress his character. People disagree, saying that they've kind of regressed his character. I completely and wholly disagree with that, and I think that just they've used up all the cards and all the tricks. Well, most of them. Guys, if there's any other tricks that you think they could use for nostalgia, comment it down below. I'm sure all of us would want to know.
Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta.
Oh boy, that would be something else. Why would they even bring that
new,
back?
But it just be like, hey, Goku
but
can
that's
do
fan
it,
service,
and
isn't it? Because we've never seen that. Nostalgia is something that we've either experienced before. Every time Goku goes Super Saiyan 3, that's nostalgic to us, I guess. If anything, isn't it fair that every time any of them go Super Saiyan 1, that's nostalgic? See, look, I'm getting a bit overboard with what is nostalgic and what isn't. But and I'm just taking the piss. But regarding that, I think that nostalgia has enhanced the series, but it hasn't saved the series and it hasn't doomed the series. So that's just my final thoughts regarding nostalgia.
I think it just isn't ruining the show. I'm okay with it. I'm fine for a bit longer. I think maybe after this arc they need to move into more new waves of things. Maybe look into more of the other universe and like other characters from there. And that. I really think they need to go that way, because although they don't need to leave like other stuff, like other characters behind. They can leave Yamcha behind. Who cares about Yamcha? All these all these little characters. Nice to see him every now and again, but in filler arcs maybe, but definitely not in the main story arcs. I think if not for a specific purpose.
Yeah, I think they most definitely need to move past the end of Z, is what I think we're all needing them to do. They definitely need to move past the end of Z to definitely get some new content in there.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but that's all really for this video, guys. Do you have any more final thoughts or anything before we end off this video?
No.
I think I've talked my ass off, if anything, and I do apologize.
Yes, it's alright, it's alright. It's all part of the discussion. But yeah, that is all for today's video. This discussion on the nostalgic elements of Dragon Ball Super and if they are beneficial or not beneficial to Dragon Ball Super. And I am very thankful to have had both Dimzy and Kaioshin Curt here on the channel for the first ever collab. I'm very humbled to have you guys on the channel. So if you guys like this video, please leave a like and a comment in the comment section below. Do you guys like the nostalgia? Do you not like the nostalgia? Share this amongst your friends. I've been AzureAce, and thank you for coming to the video.
You have arrived. I'm here to tell you that if you don't subscribe to AzureAce for Dragon Ball, Kingdom Hearts, and Pokemon TCG content, you will wander forever in the darkness of your heart.